and you can start your duties there as the host.
Hello, I'm Stan Bush, and that guy over there, I think I'm pointing. It looks like I'm pointing in the wrong way, but I think I'm pointing the right way, the way everything is reversed. That guy over there is Ron Schneeberger, and this is going to be on how to use a blab and how to host a blab. There's two different sections. I'll be handling the part about how to use a blab, and Ron will be talking about how to host a blab. And then we're planning on talking about how to embed in Joomla, but I would imagine that the discussion after that will go to a couple of other things as well. I was making a video. There appears to be some other issues out there on the web today because I was making a video and several sites failed. I wrote their tech support and they seemed as confused about it as I was, so I'm not sure their tech support will be able to get this sorted out today. But this is used to be called 25 minutes on how to host a blab or how to use blab. No Blabbus, Interruptus. And this blab, we still operate under the same principle, is that we're here to help people use blab and learn how to host blab. It was 25 minutes long. It's been extended. We'll take about 30 minutes in just covering the material, and then about 30 minutes in questions. It's fast-paced with a clear goal. Actually, I think we cut that down to 15 minutes yesterday. We want to give you the confidence to use blab. We don't answer any questions from the audience until that seat, which Ron's fixing to like, becomes available. That's part of the way that we operate and try to show you how to possibly host your own blab. Is you leave that seat open, people come into it, and you kind of get distracted. So we ask you that you hold all questions until the end, and we do ask you that you join the blab when there is an open seat. We're the Circadians. We're a concept community. Our community isn't built around an individual. We live, work, and thrive in a guru-free zone. I have to tell you, on the tech support today, when I logged in, I saw this thing that said there was a tech support question that I had for that hosting company, and it said, you know, they couldn't fix it, so I had to fix it myself. But I figured I might as well go ahead and mark this as resolved, right? And when I went to mark it resolved, I saw that the title of the tech support in this particular hosting company, the title for the tech support was that they were a guru. And so I put I got a screenshot of it. I wrote in my reply to him, well, I fixed this myself, but I see what the problem is. You're a guru. Anyway, our community isn't built around individuals. We live, work, and thrive in a guru-free zone. Everybody is equal. Everyone matters, and everyone has their own special gift. The sum of those gifts is greater than the individual. Yes, I did see the remark about driving and blabbing. I was glad you picked that up, Roxanne, because I didn't know what he was talking about. We create event-driven, outcome-oriented business building platforms and events. What that means is, like in this case, this blab is the event. The outcome-oriented, meaning at the end of the blab, we want you to be able to use and be comfortable with using blab. And if you're going to host a blab, we want you to be able to leave here and go host a blab and get started with one. So that's the outcome. Business building platforms. What that means is that, you know, we are the Circadians is a community, and that community is a paid community. And if you ever come to one of our events, which we have 2 a day, outside of the blab, we have 2 clinics a day. And if you ever come to those clinics, you'll really understand what we mean by business building. The rules of blab. Somebody might want to drop in the URL to be able to get these, that Learn Blab, although that was the site that was offline. The rules of blab. Blab doesn't really have rules. The blab teams created some agreements that they would like the community to go by, and those are to respect each other, honor the viewer's time, let others talk, and don't be an awful person to be around, argue the point, not the person, and the host sets the rules to the party unless they conflict with these rules. Basically, that means out of all of those are pretty easy. Argue the point seems to be the one that kind of gets mixed up every now and then. What that really means is that it's okay to come in here and say, to come into a blab, any blab, and say, I don't agree with you. But to go in and say, I don't agree with you, you jerk, is a different story. So don't do that. Just go in and say, I may not agree with you. We want to thank Roxanne Davenport, who is here today. We want to thank Robert Stern, and we want to thank Eileen Smith and Brian Kramer. These are some of the people that we follow and learn from. Mark Levy. If you go to that site and you download this document, then you'll have a list of who those people are. You can also send an email to stan@the-Circadians.com, and I will, if something's wrong with that download, because I can't tell from here, but if something's wrong with that, if you send an email to Stan@the-Circadians, I'll get back in touch with you if you've got some questions. And you matter at the-Circadians.com too. That's my favorite email address I've ever made up, by the way, is you matter at the Circadians. And then the next thing is we're going to just get right on and get started. Over on the left-hand side, you're going to see a little thing that says "Tell a Little Bird." If you click on that, you're going to get a dialog box. If you put in that you can put your mouse in that box and type your email address, or you can put your own hashtag. You can change that if you want, but the concept of that is as soon as you click that post tweet, it tells all your followers on Twitter that you're in a blab, and that if they want to come, they can. And that's the way that you get more people into the blab. The next thing is giving props. I'm going to put my mouse over Ron, and I'm going to double click a couple of times, and not as many times as he clicks on mine because I want more props than him. No, I'm just teasing that. But anyway, every time you click, it gives somebody props. Those props are a way of saying I agree with you, I think you're a neat guy, or whatever. You know, it's props. It's exactly what it sounds like. They don't add up and accumulate. All they do is show people that whoever the host is, that people are listening and that they appreciate you. And I would just think it would be great if Ron had like 1,000 props at the end of the blab today, because they don't accumulate, so he can't take them to the bank. Neither can I, but they are nice to have. And he especially needs props today because his sound isn't working on YouTube, and maybe that'll fix it.
I went to the Starbucks and I told them I had a whole bunch of accumulated props from all these blabs we did. First of all, they weren't aware what props were, and they said, well, it's still going to cost you $2.25. So
$2.25. It must be a cheap Starbucks.
Well, I just drink a plain coffee, so it's
yeah, they're okay. So your blab profile matches your Twitter profile, but it doesn't have to. You can change it to better suit the message that you want to convey. This is how you do it. If you roll over your profile image, you're going to see a drop down that's got information in there. Like I can look at Donald Cagle, and I can see it's at Donald Cagle. I don't see very much about his profile. On Roxanne's, I see Roxanne, and then at NC Roxanne, I have epilepsy. You ask a question, I'll answer it. Spreading epilepsy awareness is what I do. And I can look and see how many followers she has. If she puts a link there to her website, I would be able to click on that and go to her website. There is a little bird there that I can click on, then I can go to her Twitter account. But if you roll over your image and you click on your name, it's going to take you to your profile page. Over on the top right-hand side, there's going to be an image that's going to be your image. And that's going to have a drop down that says start a new blab, profile, settings, and log out. Don't click on log out or profile. If you do, it will throw you out of whatever blab that you're currently in. Instead, click on settings. And when you click on settings, you're going to see a full name, which is exactly what it says. You have some fields there. Full name is where you'd put your name. Email is where you'd put your email address, but don't change the one that you've got, because that is actually should be your Twitter email account. I've never actually changed mine, so I can't tell you for sure, but I just am not, it's not something I'm going to experiment with. Because the worst thing to do is change something that you can't get back into. You lose your followers. You never know what's going to happen on something like that. The next thing is the bio, is ask what's needed, anticipate what's expected on mine, and then provide more required with some links to some websites. That is where you put things that might encourage people to follow you. The next thing you're going to see on that page is a thing that says image, and where you choose a file, and it goes to your hard drive, and you pick the file that you want to upload to use as your profile picture. Below that, there's some lines that say email me when someone follows me, when a friend of mine joins Blab, when my friend goes live, when my friend schedules a Blab. If you want to get emails like that, just check that box. Push notify means it's going to, if you have that box, it means that whenever somebody goes there, it's going to push that to your desktop. I find that easier because then I can close that out if I don't want to look at it or go to their Blab. Whereas the email is something I'm going to have to handle, in another area. So that is how you change those settings. You can change them now, and if you do that and you hit refresh on the browser here, you'll see that your changes are immediate. Another couple of other things that's going to be in there is going to be, you're going to see a list that says, if you've got any Blabs that are scheduled, there'll be a list in there that says scheduled, and you can click to see what Blabs you have scheduled. There'll also be a thing that says followers, and that'll tell you who's following you. And there's another one that will say following. If you go to the followers, you can tell whether or not that follow is mutual. You can see if they follow you and if you follow them, and you can make a decision from there whether you want to follow them or not. You've also got a thing there that says replays. If you've done any Blabs and you've recorded them, like this one is up on the side there, you'll see a thing that says recording. And if you, or for at least that's what it says for me, but if it says that it's on the record, that means that it's being recorded. That you'll also see the number of days that somebody's been on a Blab. So you can, just find out a little bit about a person. Up on the top, you're going to see an icon. It's got two people, a number right now says 33, and then a little I and a number 15. If somebody is watching right now, there's all the way over on the top right-hand side, there is a plus sign. That plus sign means that somebody is watching it from the web, which means that they're not logged into Twitter, that they're not logged into anything. They're just viewing it from the web. If you click on the I, and we've tested that, so we know that that's exactly what it is. If you click on the I, it's going to pull up a list that says 34 total viewers and the number of people that are watching live now. You'll have, if you're following them, that following button will be purple, and you'll be able to see, hey, I didn't even see Roosevelt come in. George Jimenez. He's a business and technology consultant. I'm going to follow him. And I am going to follow this guy, Sage 100, Berto Wud. I don't know what that means, but I am going to follow him because he's down in Florida and because I like cookies and like cupcakes. Magna Weave PMF, the therapy for people, horses, and small animals, experienced a wave of relief. I'm not going to follow you because I don't have any real use for that, I don't think. But if you had a link there that went to your website, I could, or something that gave me information on that, by adding that to your bio, I could go over and look at it and say, this is what MagnaWeave does. And I would have a little bit more information. Now at the very bottom of it, now there's a thing that says +2, which means there are two people who are not logged into Twitter or logged into Blab and are watching it from the web, because you can do that. That's one of the things when people are looking at how they're going to use Blab, that's one of the things that they are always asking about: how to do a private Blab, how to do a conference Blab, and that sort of thing. It's not quite the same, but you can allow people to see it without them having an account, a Blab account. There is Cookie Monster for the win. Yeah. There is a couple other things that we're going to cover. How can you participate? The way you participate is over there on that side. You'll see a thing that says send a message, and when you type in something there, as you guys know, it sends a message into the group that people can read. The other thing is that if you want to ask a question, for example, if there's a question that you want to ask, There you go. Then you type that in there and you do that. That's not working today. That's interesting. Let's try it with a capital letter. That's actually not working today. That's the neat thing about technology is you just get surprised all the time. What about a question mark? That'll come back. I can't imagine them taking that away. I tell you what I think it's probably related to is that their work. How'd you do that? How'd you get that to work?
I didn't really try. I just typed /Q space and then
it's working for you and it's working for George, but it's not working for me.
Well, I guess you didn't pay your bill.
Yeah, it's a steep one. It's a very steep one. But that Q, don't do as I do as I say do. If you put the /Q over there, it's supposed to be. No, I took the cap lock, don't have cap locks on. It's really interesting here because I do not have cap locks on. So anyway, if you type the Q over there, what that does is it draws attention to that and lets the host know that it's a question. There used to be a tab up at the top that said questions, so you could look at just the questions. No, we have not talked about Joomla yet. But by putting that there, I could see the question. So it brought it to my attention. They used to have up at the top, there was a third column that said questions, and you could click on the questions and see just the questions. And then there is a column there that says mentions. It tells me that I've been mentioned twice about the link working and something about probably the risotto that I made. And yeah, that's right. That's Bill. I have answers, not questions. That's right, Bill. And I'm going to pay you that $10 I owe you now. So anyway, that's how you do the questions. That's how you do that. When you roll, the next thing we're going to go over is when you roll over the people in the comments. Like I'm going to go over to Bill's where he has made that comment, and right now there's a 2 on it and a little star. If I click on that star, it's going to turn to 3, and it's going to turn to a light gold color for me. That tells me that that's a way that you give props to people over on that side. They say something and that you agree with. If you roll over it a little bit more, you'll see a reply arrow. If I click on the reply arrow and I type in thanks, then it automatically inserts his name in there, which is easier than having to type that in each time, because it's when the questions get going and you're involved over here and not as in a host deal, it's kind of hard to keep up with. There's also, when you're host, there's also an X there that if I don't like something, or it's not, I have to rephrase that. It's not that whether I like it or not, but if somebody says something that's inappropriate or misinforming or something like that, the host has the ability to close that out by hitting X and removing and deleting that comment.
I'm going to show that. I'm going to see where it says Stan Bush, and you just said thanks to Bill. I'm going to click on that X, and people just watch it disappear.
Yep. And I'm going to return the favor for you when you're over here. You're going to type something over there. Okay. So anyway, we've gone over the question. We've gone over that part of it. The only thing that we haven't done is having to do with light and dark, and that when we unlock the seat, we're going to do it briefly. And I'm going to ask Bill to come in and explain what light and dark does, so that because he is the one that kind of brought this to our attention. He and actually Michelle brought it to our attention. And if you'll come in, and we're going to let him in, he's going to give a little intro to himself. And hey, Bill.
Morning, guys. I guess I get to do this every day because I got the sign, eh?
That's right.
Stan is referring to the screen being light or dark. With the changes there a couple of weeks ago, the screen went black with light writing. So if you find that that's hard to read for you, you can take the dark screen and type in /light, and it will change it to a white background with dark writing. And if you prefer the dark screen, you can change it back by typing in /dark. And that's how that works. The other thing you can do with the comment stream that I usually mention is that you can shrink your window down to about half width, and the comments will move from the right side of your screen to underneath of the blab. And for some people that are used to reading comments that way, it's a little easier. I know I prefer it. And that's all I got, guys.
Where are you at, Bill? Tell a little bit about yourself for a minute.
I am underwater in Belize this week. Rain season, instead of being 4 months long, hit in 3 days. So that's where I'm at. I'm in Belize. I'm a Canadian expat that retired here. And I have a website, BillDoesBelize.com, that provides unbiased information to people who might be thinking about making the move to paradise. So it's a website where you can do your research and make sure that paradise is actually the place for you.
Well, I don't know how you can call it paradise if it doesn't have football, but I'll go with it because it does have really nice.
Well,
scenery.
we do have football. You just can't touch the damn thing with your hands.
Okay, well, I'm talking about a different kind of football. Dark test. Okay, so a couple other things that I haven't covered is when you roll across the top, you see the people in the that are watching currently. There's a drop down that's going to come down. You see Steve Thomas, Steve the Yeti, inbound marketing enthusiast. That will, again, those drop downs give you an idea about whether or not that's a person that you're interested in following. It tells you what they do. Like I followed Vanessa the other day because she's a conference speaker and an author. I'm going to look at a couple of other. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't even need to read Daniel's because of one thing is that what he put in here, it's just, I hit it just like that. Is it his Twitter handle is On a Mission Dan, and anybody that's on a mission, I'm going to follow him. But that's how you do that. You roll over the images and you'll be able to see a little bit about them and decide whether or not that's a person that you want to follow, or if you have interest in what they're doing. Now, I'm going to turn this over to you for a minute, or for longer than a minute, Ron, and you're going to talk about the hosting portion.
Yeah, I'm going to start out right on the blab.im page. When you open that up, you're going to see some things there. You're going to see the blabs that are listed that are on air, scheduled blabs, and replays. To the left, you'll see topics. And if you click on those topics that interest you, and then you would click on air, scheduled, or replays, it'll bring up those blabs that correspond to what your interests are. And that's kind of an easy way to go through it. You don't have to go through them all. If you're interested in just business and you click on business, it'll bring up the blabs associated that have the tags business in them. If you go to the upper right, you'll see your profile picture and you'll see start a new blab. And when you click on that, it'll bring down a drop-down menu, and at the top, it'll say start a new blab. You click on that, and what you'll see is a box that says host a blab, and you'll have a line there, and you can type in the subject matter of your blab. You'll see numbers on the right, and that's how many characters you can use, up to 80. So you can type in your message, the title of your blab, and you can see how many characters you have. When you get to 80, you'll have to cut back or change the title to fit in that 80 character limit. Once you fill in the title, another box will pop up and it'll have tags that become available to you, and you can pick out the tags that correspond to your blab. You can pick up to 3 tags, and when you do, and you want to go live, those tags become available. When you pick the tabs at the bottom there, you'll see when do you want to go live. You can click now, and it'll start immediately, or you can click in the future, in which case another box will come up, and it'll have a clock there. You can set the time of your blab, AM or PM. And then right below that, it'll say tomorrow, or it will have a date in the future, and you can schedule it up to 30 days in advance. When you have that all filled out, you just click on Schedule Blab, and it'll schedule the blab. If you select now, the blab would start now. If you select the date in the future, a box will pop up, and it'll have a countdown clock at the top. Now, in our documents, the countdown clock is different than what they have now. But it does show that you have an edit button, and so you can edit something, the title of your blab, if you want to change it, and it has a start now button. So anytime you want to start the blab, you can start it. You don't have to wait until the scheduled time. Once you start the blab, you have to join, and you will see a screen. It's all black. And the top left is an edit button. If you want to change the topic, it's a pencil and it looks like a little sheet of paper. You click on that and you can change the topic. The record button is big and red, so you can't miss it. And when you start the record button, you'll see a pause button. When you stop the recording, that button goes to resume recording. So during your blab, if you want to, you can stop and start the recording at any time you wish. The Tell a Little Bird is
Ron,
in the yes.
Right. Give me 1 second, and then you can go ahead
Yep.
and continue. But I'm going to leave and come back. I have something that's very pressing on this side that
Go
I have
ahead.
to take care of right now. If anybody wants to jump in, they can. That's going to co-host. But I'm going to have to leave for just a minute. And I will tell you this, that we are making a video. I was making videos on this morning, but there were problems with, like I said, the hosting. But we'll have a video on this very, very shortly.
Okay. I'll go back to the Tell a Little Bird. It's white lettering in a black box with the blue bird. And like you folks have been doing, you click on that and it goes out to your followers. Now that you're in the blab, you can lock the other seats if you want, as we did. And I don't know if it's still, yes, it's still locked. I'll open it up in just a minute. And you can see what that looks like. When people join, the screen you'll get is their name will pop up with their bio, and it'll have a green check mark or a red X. If you want to let them in the blab, you click on the check mark and they can join in. If you click the X, it'll just eliminate them and they can't join the blab. Now, if you have somebody in the blab and you want to make them a co-host, if you click on their name, you'll get a drop-down menu again with their profile information. And in the left side, right next to their photo, you'll see an H with a plus sign. If you click on that H, it makes them a co-host. And if they refresh their screen, they'll come back in with an H up in the left corner where they normally would have had a G as a guest. Now that they are a co-host, they have the same abilities as the host does. They can let people in. They can lock the seat. They can go in the comment stream and delete comments if they wish to. The only thing they can't do is permanently block the host from coming back in. Stan pretty much covered the comments and the following, so I'm not going to go over that again because we have a lot of stuff we want to get to. And you know what, Stan? I'm going to end it right there with my part of the presentation because we covered everything on how to use Blab. That was the rest of that document. So I'm going to unlock this. Well, I'm going to let you talk because you want to talk about Joomla and some other things before we unlock the seat.
Well, there are a couple things I want to talk about. One is that when I left, that's the first time that's the first time I've ever left one like that. And when you come back from that, Ron, you're going to see that the seats still showed up locked. And it just was kind of interesting that when I got back, you were just talking about that. You were just talking about how the seat, you could join again as a host because I'm a co-host, indicated by the H up. Well, it's over here, I think, right there somewhere. There's an H that says I'm a host, and Ron has an H. Now, something that we did today, which was what we experiment. We try to learn this stuff that a lot of people may not be looking at now. If you have a company, or in the case that this blogger is, how can I find you on Twitter or Facebook? Just look for the Circadians. You can just follow me or Ron or any of us. But if you look at the Circadians on Facebook, it's facebook.com/the Circadians, I think, or Twitter's the same way. But anyway, what we're experimenting with and what we do is we go into different arenas. Like he's a blogger over here. He has customers that want to be able to, he may have customers that he wants them to either, be a host on the blog or on the Blab. And he wants to be able to do that without giving them some super administrative privileges, or they may not want to give him super administrative privileges. So what we did, the way we're operating today is that I actually started this Blab from our main account, which is the Circadians, at the Circadians on Twitter. And then because you can make somebody a co-host before the Blab actually starts, as long as they subscribe, then I subscribed and Ron subscribed. And then the host I logged in as the host and gave both of us co-host privileges. So the actual account that set this up is not even in this Blab right now. It's only us. And the reason that is important is because things happen. And let's say in a corporate environment or a business environment where you have something set up that you want to go on, whether or not, it may be something that the employee may not be able to be there, or you may not be able to be there, or I might not be able to be there, Ron might not be able to be there, but we need to be able to run that event. And so the way that that's done is by doing that, is by setting up the co-host prior to the event and leaving the host. I'm going to log in afterwards. Now, what we don't know yet is whether or not the host gets a copy. And we know that at the end of a Blab, the host gets an email that has a link to download the MP3 and MP4. And it's also got an embed code. And it's also got a link to download the video and a link to upload it to YouTube. And what we don't know yet is whether or not Ron's going to get that. I think that's right. Ron's going to get that link since he started it today, and whether or not I'll get one at all. We don't know. But that's the kind of stuff that we're into. That's the kind of things that we like to figure out, is because those are things that are, a little different. Rayana, I'm going to let you in to see if you have a question.
Stan, before I would just want to post. Why didn't it do that?
This may be what
I posted a link for the brick and mortar rescue. We didn't talk about it yesterday. You might want to just mention that, and we can go on.
Yeah, I'm gonna close this out on Rihanna, because that may be what that may have been what Nazim was referring to, was that people were floating, that they weren't able to actually get into the Blab. And so that may be what they're talking about. Okay, your website is beautiful. I love WordPress. I love Genesis. Okay, if you want to teach a Blab, thanks, Roxanne. I'm going to get into a little bit about how you embed one. Before I do, I'm going to show you something that you might find is, everybody seems to think this is a great tip, and Bill is the one that I believe is who shared this with us, is that I'm going to pull and make a separate window out of my Chrome. You know how you just hold your mouse down on the tab and pull it, and it separates it from the rest of them, right? So it's an independent tab. If you're like me, I've got whatever the maximum is on tabs open. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to narrow that down. And I'm going to narrow so that my browser becomes smaller, and it's going to be centralized right underneath my camera. And then when I drag this down, the questions all go up underneath it. So you can try that if you want, but you just narrow it down. And if you're a host, the reason I don't do it while I'm doing the presentation is because if there's any questions or anything that comes up over on the side, I like to be able to see those. You can't really see them and manage them quite as well this way, especially when it comes to do with the tweets and some of the other things. But the thing that is obvious is that when I scrunch it up real tight, it looks more like I'm looking at the camera, or looking at the people in the room, which is important when you're doing doing a thing like this. So I'm going to tell you now about embedding. Embedding is really simple. All you do is you start your blab, you go to schedule your blab, and when it finished scheduling, there's a link there that says embed this blab. And it's an iframe. And so if you're going to embed that iframe, it's like embedding it on anything. Joomla, on Joomla, you have to go in and you have to turn off the MC, what's it called? MCE or MEC, some sort of, you have to turn it off. You have to edit that page with know what you see, what you get. If you try WYSIWYG editors, it will not work. But all you do is create an article. It works in an article. It works as a page. It works on any kind of a Joomla component, module, all of it, as long as you turn WYSIWYG off. And then when you paste it and save it, you can adjust the size. You can adjust the height, width, whatever you want to adjust on it. It's very, very simple. And it's worked on me so far. It's worked on Joomla. It's worked on WordPress. It's worked on Blogger. It's worked on Tumblr. It's worked on, it's worked everywhere I've put it, as long as you turn off WYSIWYG. Now, if there's any questions that you have about that, like how that works, then I think that I think there's a problem with people joining. So we would like to have some questions. So if anybody wants to try to join now, we're going to have Nina and Shelly in though. Ron? Yes. Nina answered that question for us.
Hi. It's working. Hey. And from yesterday, it's very easy. Even I didn't want to join, but it's a circle, and when the mouse goes over it, it's like very sensitive. So I'm Nina. I'm from Sofia. This is Bulgaria in Europe. Nice to meet you from Vietnam. We all use these tools and digital communication approach to our clients, friends, for business, for work. So I'm on Google Plus level 3 certified, and I'm very happy to be part of the Circadians because it gives me a lot of knowledge, and we are like running there. We are moving faster than anything I know. So that's what I love, to bring traffic to businesses, and especially to professionals who are not online, like from my generation. People don't have these skills, and I'm advancing in order to be useful to them with my knowledge. And come and join the Circadians. See you there.
Why does Ron have a G by his name in the comment stream? Is it just me? I don't know, unless he's been taking some, I don't know.
Stan, you have a G by your name also.
Maybe the H doesn't, maybe it doesn't extend over there. I'm going to have to close Nina out. And I'm going to answer a question. One of the things, I can't listen to your voice. My voice is bad, or you can't hear me? Can you hear me, Ron?
I hear you fine. And
internet signal is very poor. Interesting. Is anybody else having that problem out of me? Because that's why they got that big beta sign up there, by the way.
Hey, Stan, here's what I think Nazim was talking about. I tried to close out Nina, and I can't. She's just floating there.
Yeah, I see that. I've got the same thing. We tried to do the same thing. I will tell you, I'm going to answer something over here too, is that it was from, I love these comments, seminar leaders, is to install Sorcerer on Joomla. Then you have no issue using the WYSIWYG editors. If I was information security officer for the state of Georgia, I've done a lot of different stuff. Retail, we have a program called Brick and Mortar Rescue. You can find out more about it by going to learnblab.com/BAM, BAM. And we're looking for, I've owned bunch of retail stores. I run 128 stores for none but shoe company. My experience is varied. One of the things I don't do, unless I absolutely have to, and those in the Circadians that come into the clinic that we have every morning know this, I don't put any third-party thing in there unless I absolutely have to. I don't know anything about, Sorcerer. I would imagine, since you use it, that you have a lot of confidence in it and everything like that. It must be some sort of I don't know what it does. I don't know enough about it, but I can tell you that in my stuff, the least number of things that I can have in the way when I'm trying to figure out an issue, my brain's just small like that. So that's what I do. I really appreciate, by the way, I really appreciate the suggestion, because a lot of people do use those, but I just don't. But I would, if you want to come in and explain some of it to us, that'd be great. Do you have to re-embed? Peter Western is one of the very trusted Joomla devs. I know Peter Western, which gives a little credence to what you're talking about, just by the way. There's the guy said something about Vietnam. There's a company over there called Matamco I'm familiar with that did some Groupon knockoffs maybe 10 years ago. I don't know how long ago it was, but I checked out some of the stuff on them too. Let's see. Do you have to re-embed each blab, or once embedded on site, it stays connected to future blabs? It does not, but if you know enough about RSS feed, you can get it to work that way. By embedding the RSS feed in an iframe, it will bring those up, and you can use it that way. Yeah, that's what she said. How long are you taking questions today? For about another till they quit. No longer than, probably the best answer to that is not past 12. I'm going to say, and we'll go back to that re-embed each blab. We're broadcasting on Facebook right now too, using a thing called static HTML, which is actually also a thing called Thunder Penny. If you go to Facebook and go to your apps, go to settings and then apps, and search for Thunder Penny, right. Or I'll get the link while Rodrigo's here, and I'll post the link in here. I'll have to answer that question. In a minute.
Stan,
you actually have to.
There's also, yeah. That's the one I was going to. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I use Logic when I do stuff. That's another reason why I don't do that many third-party stuff, is because I use Logic to figure things out sometimes, and that, it gets a little complex. And the RSS feed is not readily available for blabs, because I know that's what your question is. But I create an RSS feed. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go get the link to that static HTML. And to answer your question is, once you get that embed code, you'll see in the middle of it, there's an HTTPS, which is the address to like this blab. So all you have to do is replace that. You do have to replace that if you're going to keep the blab, active or whatever. If you're going to rebroadcast and want to use the same space or same page or same tab on Facebook. But I'll go get that while. Young Rodrigo, how you doing, man?
Doing fine, thank you.
Hey, he's the rookie. Tell us about yourself, Rodrigo.
Well, to sum up, I'm a guy looking for what it means human-to-human marketing. I'm interested in any kind of information about it. I'm trying to figure out by myself too. So that's it.
And you joined us in the Circadian Clinic this morning, and I can tell by talking to you that you have a wealth of knowledge, and I think you could be a great asset.
Yes, I got interested in almost anything, and I have experience because I grown up with computers and trying to be a developer, trying to work with graphics. I have experience from bottom up in building a company with my father. So I got a very traditional company and made it digital, to say like this. So in a very traditional market, that's construction. So I think I have a good balance of expertise. And I think I'd like to share that with you guys if possible.
What did you think of that clinic? A lot of times people, they see us doing this stuff and they really, you know, you and I talked about it this morning, is that the clinics for me is where it's really fun, because the clinics, we can share screens. We do that whole share screening thing, and we can get right to it. You know, what we talk about is getting stuff done. So tell me, what did you think of the clinic this morning? Because that was your first one being in one.
I think that's a great challenge to connect with other people and see other people in other paces, you know. So, and you have always to be thinking what you're going to share and what you're going to add value, like we talked in the morning, what it means to add value to another human being. And it's challenging. It's a great opportunity. It's like a free range test. Everybody's in a good will there. So I think you can go wrong as much as you want because everybody's in a good will to improve. I think that's hard to find. It is like a trivial thing, but it's not. I like it. Yes.
Yeah, it's just I just love it because of all the challenges and being able to, instead of like right now, the question was static HTML will add new tab HTML to Facebook. And Rodrigo was in there this morning, and what he knows is that in the clinics, which are held done on Hangouts on Air, we still use HOAs because we think there's specific uses. We think there's room in this whole world for everything. But in this case, in the clinics, and just send an email to me, and we'll talk about getting you in there. In the clinics, we just get right to it. I would actually bring up a Facebook page, show you how to add it, show you how to add the tab, show you how to edit the tab, show you what I use Canva for, is to create the ability to create and change those tabs just like that. And it's just a ton of fun. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Stan. Hi, Ron. Hi, Rodrigo. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Yesterday I installed the static in my page on Facebook, but I don't have the link because I wasn't a host of that particular blab.
Mm-hmm.
So I got the welcome tab. It came up as welcome. I need to figure out how to edit that, but I got the tab in.
I'm going to do the best I can, and I'm going to see if I can show you something right now. I just thought about this. Yep. Okay. All right. I'm going to take out what I have right now is the iframe. I have the actual code for embedding one of our shows. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out the title, and I'm going to put insert. That tells y'all how I work. I mean, I keep these things so I don't have to run around doing stuff. I've been doing this for like 30 years. Insert your URL here. Okay, so I'm going to post this over there. We're going to see what happens. If you take forever, if you take this code right here and you copy that code and you see where it says insert your URL here.
Yes.
If you were to insert up in the top of this, it says blab.im, the Circadians, how to, blah, 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 something like that.
Right.
If you insert that into there, it will work. Okay.
Great. Thank you.
Yep. And what I did, like YouTube embed code. Yep. Very similar. Yeah. The thing that I changed on mine is I still left the max width at 100%, but I changed the height and the width to 800 because it just looks better in every device I looked at it, because it still maintains 100%. So on mobile devices and stuff, well, actually, that's a different story. When you go there, if you're using static HTML or Thunderpenny, when you go there and you add that code, there's going to be a little box there. And again, we can't screen share here. That's why I was making the video earlier.
But I know the box underneath where it says insert the code, right?
No. I'm talking about on Facebook.
Yes.
Yeah. On Facebook, there is, that's right. There is a thing down there where you insert the code. But on Facebook, when you use the Thunder Penny, there's a little thing up there that says enable mobile view or something like that. It refers to mobile.
Right.
If you click on that, it's gonna explain to you the reason why this won't work on mobile. Because if you put, yes, that's exactly right. So if you put that URL in the iframe, or if you send somebody to that URL from a mobile device, it won't work. So when you click enable mobile, it doesn't enable it. It gives you a different link so that you have to put that link in there for that iframe and it'll work.
When you say in there,
because that was what we were experimenting with the other day.
There, where explain where you mean in there.
Where it says insert your URL here.
Okay.
I don't actually do it that way. What I do is I go ahead and insert the full thing up there. But what it does is it reads the browser. It comes up with like http:/fb dot something, right? Because it looks like it's a Facebook URL shortener. So it brings that up, and you can put that where it says insert. Where I put that code there where it says insert your URL. If you put that in here, what it does is that Facebook thing goes out and looks at where they're coming from, at the device that they're coming from, and says, okay, this is a mobile device. And so it displays according to the screen resolution. It reads all that stuff. It reads and says, according to the screen resolution, this is how big this device is. And then it looks at if it's a mobile phone or, I guess that mobile phone, that's really interesting. I never thought about that before. That's really the only kind of phones we have anymore. But are mobile ones.
Well, we got the iPads,
Yes, we do. So if you put that code in there instead of this HTTPS, it will make it mobile so that no matter what kind of device that they're looking at. It's just one other step. But what else would technology be if you didn't have one other step? Right. That's what makes technology is that you go and you say, I did exactly what you said. But you forgot that one step. And because when we were testing this the other day, you remember that everyone was saying, this didn't work for me. And I was like, I'm on a mobile. And I was like, well, why isn't that working? So I had to dig a little bit deeper. And well, thank you. Too hot true. I guess that's how you pronounce it. My buddy's name over there is E.C. Harris. I just know him as E.C. I mean, we went to school together, and I'd like to connect y'all. He's in Vietnam. Who is not from the Circadians? Okay. Is there anybody that's not from our group that wants to hop in and ask a question? Wow, both of those, they jackrabbited right out. Is there anybody that wants to ask a question? Vanessa or George or Jerry? Anybody else got a question? We love them. That's what we live for. Say something cool for Bulgaria. Guarantees job security. I don't know so much about that. Anyway, I think we're at the end, unless nobody else got another question. What is our Facebook page? I'll go get that for you. I used to have it in a link here, but I got probably 40 different pages over there. So that's one of the reasons why I run it the way that I do, just so you know, is that what we have to look at is how I was in the information security officer, but I was also on the business continuity, the original business continuity team there. So I had to figure out business continuity, which is is always the mode I'm in. I'm always looking at how do we do this in a worst case scenario. And I can't think of the name of the Maharishi, whatever it was that they had on Star Trek, but there was this FEMA test that they did, and the thing was, how would in the worst case scenario, how would you get a message out to how would you get a message out if all the phone lines were dead and all the towers were down and all this other stuff was down? And I used a fax machine through a wireless device to post to a blog is how I actually did it. So and nobody else could figure it out. So basically I cheated. That's what it boils down to. Anything else? Anybody got any other questions? Make sure you follow us. If you want to find out more about what we do, if you want to attend one of the clinics, then, get in touch with us and let us know that, because, we're all about, trying to help people and growth and stuff. I mean, hey, Ron, you got 1,006 pluses over there, man. That's awesome.
I'd have a lot more if I could figure out how to do it myself, but it's
I hear you. So now's that point where we're going to stop the recording, right?
Right.
All right, we're going to stop the recording, and then because we want to shut this down as in as best fashion as we can. If you want to find out what happened, you can come back tomorrow. We'll be glad to share with you. We're going to stop the recording. And you want to do that? I don't even have. Yeah, there it is.
You did it already.
I didn't.